Yeah, we suck right now.
Culture is seriously. Like, I'm just praying for the Lord to deliver me from pick sixes.
It's Christmas time, and I think I see a present under the tree. No, that's just a lump of coal known as Tree Picks. Proudly partnered with Underdog to deliver pick'em goodness to your digital stocking. Let's check the results of last time quickly. I'm a busy man. Am I simply doomed to go 3-2 from this point forward? Can't even lose right. Man, I really have fallen off. Let's go to the next game. Ooh, Pittsburgh and Baltimore in a contest to secure the AFC North. Now, this is the shit I enjoy the most. First things first, Lamar Jackson does not do well against the Steelers. I don't know why, but it's a tradition dating back years. Instant lower in his passing yard total. Although there is a concern. TJ might be out. If that's the case, the Ravens offense will be emphasizing the rushing attack. And I don't believe they'll keep King Henry on the sidelines this time around. He and Lamar are gonna feast on that and higher on Derek's rushing yards. As mentioned, this is gonna be a very run-heavy game with emphasis on play action. Plus, with another week without George Pickens, the Steelers are gonna be limited through the air. Lower on Russell Wilson's passing yards. Even if the Ravens might lack a passing game here, it's gonna be a heavy emphasis on their tight ends, Likely and Andrews. I like Zay Flowers, but I'm gonna say lower in his receiving yards for him. As for the Steelers' rushing attack, I'm expecting a heavy dose of Najee Harris. They'll get him back in the saddle after his fumble last week. So higher in his rushing yard total. I know you think I'm stupid. You already know you can do better than me. So why haven't you done so yet? Underdog's Daily Pick'em gives you the freedom to play your way, no strings attached. Plus, they offer daily promos as an extra gift this season. And always remember to use the code UTREE. It gets you up to $1,000 in bonus cash in your first deposit plus a special pick in the lobby. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a glorious Sportsball season. And always both play and watch Sportsball responsibly. These teams scored over 90 points last week. I just know everyone sat around the fire and said, I miss really awful Thursday night football games. Because we got ourselves a slop fest of misery equaling the weather conditions in Santa Clara. Nobody can do a damn thing. Seriously, nothing. I hope you like punting because that's the highlight of the night. The end zone's been disabled, field goals only. San Fran had more punting yards on the day than offensive yards by a country mile. Endless fuck-ups that only reveal traitors in their midst. Debo talks all that shit about how he's not getting the ball enough and proceeds to do that. Congrats, asswipe, that drop just cost your team the game. Yet he wasn't even the most embarrassing player on the damn field. Devondre Campbell channeled the spirit of Vontae Davis and just said fuck it and left. Saw what Deontay Johnson did last week and told him to hold his release papers. Or maybe they were gifted to the opposition like Brock's throws. The Niners aren't just losing, they're smoldering with every bad luck outcome imaginable. Loss number 8, humiliatingly swept by the Rams, point of no return. You're fucking cooked, hand in your jacket at the door. Don't give me the injury excuse. LA was wrecked at the start of the year and managed to come back from the dead. Rumors of the Rams' demise were greatly exaggerated indeed. But impressive the run they've been on. And playoffs are a very real possibility. Go smite those before you once more. Another week at home for the Giants, another banner flying over MetLife. Can you fire Morrow as well? That's the only way things get better. Baltimore had no interest in teasing and toying with a shitty football team. Learning from their debacle against the Raiders, the G-men were slaughtered in an upheaval of anything they hold dear. Lamar Jackson was in a glorified scrimmage against a scout team, nearing perfection with his arm, dazzling the crowd with more touchdowns than incompletions on the day. Yet New York needs to make sure a loss is guaranteed. Tommy Cutlets was given the reins as starter thanks to a Drew Lock injury, but he'd be whacked by rival mobsters. Look at how they massacred him on the field. It leads to true misery. Somehow, the NFL's DEI hire return. Now this is an elite tank job. The Raiders think Desmond Mitter's a tank commander. He's an amateur in this art. Please, Ravens, enjoy your easy win despite your 12 penalties. The Giants have their eyes on a real prize. Maybe they can bring in Deontay Johnson for the final stretch to seal it. The Cowboys may have had their foolish playoff ambitions die last week, but Carolina's objective is to simply die. Despite being favored in this game and playing tight football against playoff contenders, they realize that they're actually a terrible football team. Bryce Young may have given the Panthers hope these past few weeks, but he was eaten alive here all game long. An absolute nightmare with 6 sacks and turnover production rivaling famous Jameis himself. 4 awful ones in a regression to the mean. He's probably done enough to earn another year here, but Micah Parsons took a gigantic shit on him and this offensive line in a hate-fueled orgy of destruction. Rico Dowdle proves himself as one of the few remaining high points of this franchise, and they win easily. It means nothing. Dallas can pretend they still have a chance in hell of playing in January. Carolina has real ambitions to shoot for. A top draft pick. One they actually own this year. The Cowboys will join them on the couch shortly.
Miss.
This is a tank bowl back in September. 2 teams with playoff dreams shattering into a billion pieces before they hit the ground. A game that means pretty much nothing somehow becoming one of the closer matchups in the 1 p.m. window. In the wreckage of what was these grand monuments to pigskin, Jets and Jags fight to the death for nothing more than bragging rights. A shootout that brings us the feels of nostalgia at every turn. Mac Jones throwing like he's back in 2021 is merely a matinee performance. Behold the main show. Aaron to Devontae. A throwback to 2016 in all of its glory. It may have come months too late against one of the worst secondaries in football, but the magic is back! Rodgers unleashing hell with his old compadre to deliver the Jets a victory when the war's been long lost. Certainly aren't with Little Mac after all. Perfect. Behold, New York! A meaningless win that only leaves you even more bitter since it didn't happen earlier. If you aren't with the Jets at 4-10, don't hop on the bandwagon when they're 5-12. The day of reckoning has come. Which franchise? I don't know. Both, maybe? This was a game that showcased the many flaws of both teams. A disgrace to football displayed on all angles, but it does make for some good memes. Devondre Sweat sent Alex Kappa to the spirit realm, and I felt it from my desk several states over. Good lord, what a stiff arm. Say hi to Josh Norman while you're down there, Alex. If I have good news for the Bengals, their defense finally showed up for once this season. It might be against the modern Hindenburg with a literal meme at quarterback, but better late than never, I guess. Just really sloppy execution from 2 teams that fancy themselves as much better than what they really are. These fuckers combined for 10 turnovers and 26 penalties. More penalty yards than both teams had rushing. And Will Levis is something. Chucking off another terrible pass for a pick six, as is tradition with the Surrender Cobra. Then on the next drive, another terrible turnover, surprisingly not by Levis. But this one was undone by Jordan Battle pulling a Deshaun Jackson for the end zone. Or a Malachi Corley, depending on your recency bias. One more bad interception and that's enough memeing for a generation, Will. It's Christmas time, so Mason Rudolph the Red Zone Reindeer is due to guide a few sleighs. Quite frankly, these are 2 terrible teams and Tennessee out-terribled them. Who knew all it took for the Bengals to not waste Joe Burrow's efforts was facing a poorly coached shit heap? A most shocking revelation indeed. Consider this game to be a modification to the Chiefs' devil magic. Instead of the usual keep it close standard of this season, the Cleveland Browns proceeded to happen. Fucking the ball in every way, shape, and form throughout the contest. Holiday cheer and the spirit of giving filled their hearts. Jameis Winston felt inspiration from many chefs throughout time and space itself to deliver only the most delicious turnovers to his opposition. Both Kansas City and the meme world rejoices, for they will enjoy a Christmas feast. The Factory of Sadness unfortunately found some health violations with Jameis' stand, so they shut him down in favor of DTR. We weep for the delicious picks the world has lost. That franchise is in hell once more. Nick Chubb isn't what he was, but the gods do not care. He'll be afflicted with a broken foot that takes him out for the remainder of the season. The Chiefs not having to suffer through an uncomfortably close game? This is in violation of several NFL treaties in this current year. There has to be retribution for this insult. And it may be one far too great to bear. Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid and Matt Nagy chose to butcher anything resembling a competent game plan and got him injured on a 4th down attempt. He's out week to week. And who the hell knows what mystery box Carson Wentz is? It could be his MVP form, he could imitate his final weeks as a Colt. It was a win, but at what cost? That's the question moving forward. Call it a hunch, but I think it'd be wise for the commies to win this one. Derek Carr's in the shop, so New Orleans has to trust Jake Hayner to do anything. Good luck with that. He rivals Ian Book. This pose is giving me Hollywood actor trying to throw a football in a movie vibes. And it's like a man trying to move a building. It won't budge. The Saints only had 38 yards of offense in the first half, their worst performance in over 20 years. Washington, with their high-flying offense and young star under center, jump out to a strong lead and don't look back. Well, at least that's how it should go, but there are two major issues. First, Hayner was told to fuck off for the legend of Spencer Rattler. Secondly, the second half cliff is a very real phenomenon. The Commies may have a 17-0 lead, but the offense will all but stall out from this point forward. That, and we learn who the best QB on the Saints is right now. Cedric Wilson. Should have started him over Hayner. In the process, Washington's offense shutters down to nothing, and the Saints slowly start to chip away at a lead thought insurmountable. A pair of field goals by Blake Grupe make it a one-score affair, and concern starts to set in. Mostly because the Commies keep shooting themselves in the foot at every turn. But it can be stopped if Greg Joseph makes a field goal. Yeah, nobody's believing that one, it's no good. Now comes the part where the tension needs to be artificially manufactured. Even without Alvin Kamara, Nola's making easy work of this 2-minute drill. Rattler's leading the Saints offense to the red zone. This is a disaster for the Commies. If they can't stop them with a few seconds left, it's panic time.
All right, here we go. Rattler throws, end zone, touchdown!
Oh Lord, DEFCON 1 is activated. New Orleans is going for two with a chance to win. Delusion's running wild for Mickey Loomis. Someone save them!
Rattler for the win. He throws, it's incomplete.
That's pretty on brand for the Saints. The opportunity to make something of yourselves, you cut off half the damn field with the QB rollout. Washington narrowly avoids the second half cliff in the process, but this should have never happened. The clock inexplicably stopped after the Moreau catch for a few seconds. This game should have been over before the QB spiked the ball. We nearly witnessed ref ball supreme, and the Zebras just threw their hands up in the air and said, oops! Even the Saints got fucked by it on a Commies missed kick. Wait, that's actually the end of the quarter. Here's another kick! What a disgrace. Classic game manipulation by the NFL. Hope you enjoy the pissed off bettors who got screwed over in the process. One of the biggest matchups of the NFL week comes between two teams that are honestly underachieving on a grand scale. Houston's record's deceiving if you haven't been watching them. Miami's just a hot mess rivaling Florida humidity in the summertime. This game more than reinforced both these narratives, but the true agony came for the Dolphins. In this setting, Tua was afflicted with a dreaded case of Carson Wentz syndrome. He completely shit the bed. Tua turned the ball over, made an encore appearance at the worst possible time. Terrible turnovers delivering retribution to a barrage of haters in his wake. That interception near the end of the first half was devastation rivaling a hurricane. Stingley and Lassiter may be an outstanding cornerback pair, but Miami did themselves no favors here. It's the epitome of their season. Have opportunities to get back in the game. Houston's offense can do absolutely nothing for entire drives at a time. The Finns are only down by 8. Tua should easily get them back into the affair. If he isn't throwing terrible picks. More frustrations aplenty for both franchises and a slow decay to dust and ash. The Texans have been miserable as well, but Miami wanted the loss so much more. How does this game end? Why are you even asking? It's a final showing from Tua turned the ball over. If the Ravens are a paper tiger, the Dolphins aren't even a paper kitten. Glorified stat patterns that can't beat anyone with a winning record in the McDaniel era. And that benefits Houston. They've been incredibly shitty this season, but the AFC South is even worse. They win the division by default. Whoop-de-doo. The 4 p.m. window offered incredible matchups, heavyweight bouts, and serious playoff implications. And Patriots Cardinals. Big Bird at the business meeting vibes in this one. New England's more interested in tanking for incredible justice, but the let Drake may try to grind blood out of a stone. He won't succeed, but he tries his damnedest to. There isn't much to say here that we don't already know. The Patriots suck and are gunning for Travis Hunter. The Cardinals are simply trying in vain to stay alive for a playoff run that will never come to fruition. Not much happened before the fourth quarter, but by that point Arizona had more than enough for a soul-crushing win. Once again, doesn't really matter since the Cards lost last week, but it's just hoping for more progression. The game fulfilled sponsor obligations. Let's move on. So much for a tight contest. Liquid LA's story unfolds like a timeshare salesman. Smooth talking and swamp to start, then you get locked into a room for 8 hours and are forced to agree to their terms just to leave. The Buccaneers should have been a formidable opponent, but not like this. The first half is the smooth talking. A neck-and-neck bout playing right into the Chargers' strengths. Hell, they even have a lead headed into halftime. That was merely playing right into Tampa Bay's trap. The second half is a death sentence for the poor fools on their defense. Baker to Mike Evans go brrrr. What a combination. If you're a Browns fan, shield your eyes. Mayfield's embracing the underdog role and thriving at SoFi to the tune of over 500 yards of offense. Stout Harbaugh defense. A Justin Herbert bailout. Not tonight, buddy. This win all but seals the division for the Bucs, which is surprising considering the sheer amount of attrition they've suffered throughout the season. Regardless, they persevered. And thanks to their resolve and Atlanta's impressive choking, they can do the impossible and absolutely hilarious. The NFC South is in their own hands. Crazy to think, but this has been a very strange year. You usually don't survive 4-game losing streaks. Well played. This is going to be a statement for whoever chooses to snag the win in the battle for the Keystone State. Like everything that goes through Pennsylvania, Philly grabs hold of the contest and never lets go. In fact, they imitate whatever is supposed to be a competition and strangles the life out of it early. Complete suffocation by the Eagles in every semblance of play. Tension between Jalen and AJ? Sure as hell didn't feel like it here. The passing attack finally emerged from its slumber against an elite defense on paper. Even with voodoo incantations from the sideline, the black and gold have no damn chance in hell. They try to keep up, but can't. In the end, Najee Harris whiffs on a basic toss play and hands the game off to the opposition. The Steelers weren't winning this, but it was simply the dagger to any hopes whatsoever. They must bow down to the Eagles' magnum opus. A 10-plus minute final drive killing them off for good. Philly simply showed Pittsburgh that they're not only second fiddle in the state, they're a jobber to the stars of the NFL itself. But that's just any given Sunday for the Steelers. As long as there isn't a crucial injury, they can just dust it off and call it a day. Oh, fuck!
No!
Looks like it might be a one and done for these boys yet again. A critical game in the AFC playoff picture. Surprising to think considering how the season's played out, but Denver's eager to get back to the promised land of January. It sure as hell isn't happening the way they're playing. I'm under the assumption that the Broncos got high off their own supply because the quality of play has taken a nosedive. When they thought they were safe, Mo Picks has returned. He's being exposed for the Sean Payton merchant that he is. And the hopium in Denver is choking them away slowly. Even as Anthony Richardson can't throw a football accurately, Indy might as well be leading by 20. It's fucking hilarious. The Colts are going to drunkenly stumble their way into the playoffs. Who needs a passing game when you have Jonathan Taylor rushing through the opposition like this? Oh no, Jonathan! What are you doing, my man? You sat there and watched Malachi Corley pull the same shit on Halloween. Jordan Battle did it hours ago, for fuck's sake! You're getting paid $14 million a season. Why the hell are you sabotaging the season Wentz style? Hold on to the fucking ball! Drunkenly stumbling around has started to backfire. You think a good plan is for Adonai Mitchell to throw a pass? Nick Bonito swoops in and destroys their dreams. And with that, Indy season all but ends in a hilarious thud. They fancy themselves as playoff contenders, yet failed to realize that they fucking suck. Denver wasn't any good either, but if the Colts want to lose the game on their own, more power to them. Their January ambitions may be all but dead, but Colo Cal of the Week honors are more than ripe for the taking. Denver can keep on huffing that hopium as Mo Picks makes a glorious return to fuel his haters. He was absolutely terrible today. Don't you dare think that Indy didn't beat themselves easily. Poor Chris Ballard. He drafted a project QB he can't develop and a season dead to rights. Speaking of which, the Broncos pretty much punched their ticket to January on the back of a strong defense. They're probably going to get walloped in the first round, but considering their early projections, Denver takes that every day of the week. Somehow I wonder if this was more or less a free win for the Bills. Heavyweight bout? Yeah, maybe 40-year-old Muhammad Ali. The Lions are a hollow shell of what they were for most of the season. Anyone who follows them knows why. Detroit has nothing left on defense. They're at the point of buying out an entire crematorium for the amount of dead. 3 more players on that end out for the season, and it keeps piling up. 16 defenders on IR. They're close to calling up McDonald's workers and guys from the Ford plant for bodies. Jared Goff and the Detroit offense can dominate what's supposed to resemble a defense, but it means nothing when you have literal blocking sleds that are supposed to allegedly defend. It's a Sisyphean agony that only results in the football teleporting to your end zone without fail. Everyone's sitting here wondering why Dan Campbell kicked an onside kick early in the fourth quarter down by 10. Why sit there and watch your defense give up a long drive when you can watch them give up a short drive? It's a simple proposition. Josh Allen can kill them quick or even quicker. These past few weeks he's putting up cheat code numbers not seen since the Game Genie, making his case for MVP by shredding the poor fools in front of him without resistance. Buffalo has serious concerns mostly about that defense, but they'll be a threat with Allen playing like this. The only threat the Lions have at this point is competing for the Injury Bowl. They also lost David Montgomery for the year. No more Sonic and Knuckles for you guys. Eggman stole the Master Emerald. Something tells me that this played right into the Packers' hands. Seattle had a chance to make a statement and they just fell apart and revealed themselves as a team without clothes. The Seahawks couldn't even manage to get to the thrift store to stitch up some cloth. They were flattened into a tortilla shell. Then their entrails stuffed into a burrito to be served up to drunken Wisconsinites. Humiliate them early, do it often, and never look back. This game was over at halftime. Even with Seattle's cardiac nature, there aren't enough volts in this defibrillator to get them back in the game. And then the doctor declared them dead. Geno Smith went down. Say what you will about his inconsistencies of late, but without him, the Seahawks are fucked. Sam Howell and his Costco bulk of turnovers aren't going to do much of anything. In fact, he's not even going to do that. Green Bay dispatches Seattle in an absolutely devastating loss if this is a long-term injury for Geno. Everything lining up for them before what could be their funeral. The Seahawks may be fraudulent, but if they can't generate any sort of offense moving forward, you may as well kiss their hopes goodbye. The Packers keep pace in a gauntlet of a division. Seattle, though, potentially as done as a fish at the market. This game was over after the first drive. The moment Chicago called a halfback toss on 4th down at their own 30 sealed their fate. Minnesota and their uncanny all-white unis made unbelievably easy work embalming this long-dead corpse of a franchise. Broken by a Hail Mary? That play made them regress into a vegetative state. No control over any of their bodily functions. The Vikings simply put them in a harness and made them walk naked on all fours across the stadium grounds. As Sam Darnold continues to revive from the dead, you simply hope that the Bears don't ruin another prospect. Caleb is stagnating with the lack of proper structure and coaching. He's the NFL's answer to Skibbity Toilet, trying to run around aimlessly as if he's playing Madden and heaving prayers against Pac-12 defenses. Doesn't work like that here, man. In between this and his O-line getting him killed, the entire operation is in complete disarray. A season of hype and promise swept away yet again. Insanity played on a loop.
Miss.
Vikings, well done, and not just on the win. I didn't give them much of a chance this year. That nightmare of an offseason was all but impossible to recover from, but they did it. Not only tied for the NFC North lead and the number 1 seed, but earning a golden ticket in the process. Most impressive. Here's a riddle for those of you still watching. If there are 2 games on a Monday night and both of them are terrible, does that make it a benefit or detriment to us watching? The Raiders alone will make this root canal levels of painful. Desmond Ridder, Tank Commander reporting for duty. That means there will be no offensive production to speak of. With how god-awful and injury-ravaged Las Vegas is, it's an automatic win for the Falcons, ending an aggravatingly bad choke fest of a month. That doesn't mean they played well. Quite on the contrary. I was worried about being unable to do my laundry, but then Mom told me she put it on the Kirk Cousins cycle. I knew they were washed. His torn Achilles recovery is going as well as DeMarcus Cousins is. Terribly. Atlanta's offense has become completely predictable thanks to Kirk's physical limitations. They can only run the ball to one side with him under center. The passing attack's been neutered. Cousins got outplayed by Desmond fucking Ridder. That's grounds for serious alarm. But it's not like they have a first-round pick on the bench or anything, so it's all good. The fact that this game even came down to a Hail Mary is damning all its own. If the Falcons' defense and special teams didn't have the fortune of facing a blatant tank, this would have been yet another humiliating defeat. I've seen high schools have better offenses than what was shown. What a waste of time. Just watch Atlanta do the same shit against the Giants next week. Even if you have no experience watching NFL football, you'd know that something's wrong with Kirk Cousins. I'm honestly surprised Atlanta didn't pull the plug a few weeks earlier, but he's become Boxer from Animal Farm. His body can't go any further. It's okay, Mr. Cousins. They're gonna take you to a place deserving of your illustrious career. One where you can tend the rabbits. Tell me about the rabbits, Kirk. Atlanta had no choice. They had an 8th overall pick sitting on the bench and Kirk goes as cooked as a hockey puck. His play may have cost them a playoff spot. And who the hell knows how Michael Penix is gonna do, but we need to remember Cousins' wonderful legacy. generational bag securer. The greatest one to pass down to your children. 3 games remain. This week was critical in deciphering the playoff formulas, but it doesn't mean that we're anywhere close to a solution. We need to go deeper. The AFC's #1 seed is Kansas City's for now, but with Buffalo's tiebreaker and the Mahomes injury, things could be getting complicated there. The AFC North will be all but decided this Saturday. Steelers and Ravens locking horns. If Pittsburgh wins, they clinch it outright. If Baltimore breaks them, they control their own destiny there. The loser will secure a wildcard spot, and the other 2 are up for grabs. Denver's all but secured one with last week's win, but the Chargers are solely in 7th. They should make it barring a collapse. They do fall Indy gets first rights, followed by Miami and Cincy. All 3 are on life support, however. The #1 seed in the NFC is now a 3-way tie. The Lions still have control, but the Eagles and Vikings are hot on their tail and coming fast. Philly can also claim the NFC East with a win or Washington loss, but the Eagles aren't going to implode, right? The NFC North is a mosh pit, made even more so by the attrition on Detroit. Minnesota or Green Bay could easily take it, but the NFC South is Tampa's to lose. Hopefully they won't choke it away like Atlanta did. The NFC West is between Seattle and the Rams with the Cards and Niners on life support. This division probably gets settled with a Week 18 showdown. The wildcards are all but set and can be officially claimed if Green Bay wins and Washington wins and gets help. The NFC especially is going to be a ride moving forward. Get ready. These words are going to come in handy.
Don't get eliminated!
Bring out Jadine!
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Bring out Jadine!
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Bring out Jadine!
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost.
Unit lost.
Unit lost.
Unit lost.
Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Ah, thanks very much. That's all. See you on Thursday. Right.
2nd and goal from the 9. Burrow under pressure again, and this time he'll go down. Or will he? The ball pops out, and it's recovered by the Titans. Devondre Sweat rumbling up the sideline. The big man still on the run, and out of bounds.